Have you ever heard of John Lilly? John Lilly's the man who developed the sensory deprivation tank. And he's also a pioneer in interspecies communication. And one of the things he was doing, he was a legitimate scientist.
Yeah.
One of the things he was doing was trying to decipher dolphin communication and trying to get dolphins to speak English. And he was wild. He was a wild dude. He would take acid and get in a sensory deprivation tank right next to a tank filled with orcas, and he would try to communicate with them while he was tripping. And one of the things he did was he developed this research center where they had an orca that lived with a woman, and she lived in this house that was filled with water. So the orca could swim around. So for her to get to her bed, she had to the water was like, it wasn't an orca, excuse me, it was a dolphin. And the water was like, chest high. So the dolphin would swim around in this house. And then to get into the bed, she'd have to climb out of the water and into the bed. And the dolphin was a male dolphin, and it would get distracted because it was so hypersexual. Mm-hmm. So she would jerk off the dolphin. Mm-hmm. And when they found out about it, they killed the research.
They should have upped the
money.
Yeah,
hire someone to jerk them off.
They're
more.
They're just as freaking sexual as we are.
Maybe even more so. But the only way it would participate in these activities was if it got jerked off.
Hand job.
So they found out and they killed the science.
Yeah, they're humping everything.
Yeah, constantly.
So without knowing any of that story prior to right now, great story. In 1983. The sensory deprivation tank had become a little bit of a thing in Hollywood, and you could go and rent a little time.
We have one here.
You have one here. But this is early days.
Yeah.
This is John Lilly days.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, I decided to give my best friend at the time, Tree, some LSD. I said, let's take this LSD, go up to the apartment complex, and we're going to rent an hour in the tank, side by side. And he was like, okay, let's do it. So we took the LSD. We drove his car. We got in the tanks. I thought it was just going to be, trippy dippy. Forget it. I was 10 billion miles away in outer space. An astral plane experience.
Yeah.
Completely conscious, but no body. Just flying through the quiet vastness of space. It was almost more than we could handle, but those things are real. The elements combined. I don't do LSD anymore, but as a young man, it made sense to me.
The combination of the two things is what's really phenomenal. Because what Lilly, he invented the sensory deprivation tank because he was trying to figure out a way to separate the mind from any of the physical input of the body.
It works.
It does work.
Probably without LSD.
Oh, it definitely does without
Yeah.
LSD. Yeah, it's one of the best ways to achieve a psychedelic state without any drugs. And also, you can end it at any time. Just open the door. And it's over. It's not like you have to come down from it. It just goes away.
I had to come down on that day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I bet.
I had to get home.
I bet you did. How'd you get home?
It was tough. It was tough. The roads were disappearing under the car. You have a tank here in the office, or
It's in the gym.
okay?
Yeah, it's right next door. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
It's awesome. It's from Los Angeles. There's a place called the Float Lab.
Yeah.
It's in Venice. It's the premier
Okay.
float destination on Earth. My friend Crash runs it. It's incredible. And Crash is a mad scientist, and he's developed a sensory deprivation tank that's super advanced with ozone filtration, and the water filtration is he gets these systems that are from commercial water filtration for like people's drinking water
Yeah.
and shit. And he has this whole process of, and then it's a giant tank too. It's like a meat freezer.
Size of this room?
No. It's like from this
Okay.
back to there. But it's nice and wide where you could reach out, you touch this side and touch that side, so you sort of center yourself
How
in the
about just
water.
floating on water?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's amazing. And there's 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts in there. So you're very buoyant. You just
Body
relax.
temp?
Body temp.
You don't
94
feel it.
degrees. You don't feel it. It's incredible.
Dark?
Yeah. Pitch black.
Yep.
Yeah. And you just blend it in nothingness. And when the mind is detached from the physical sensations of the body, your brain becomes supercharged. And the way I always describe it is like, if we were having this conversation and there was someone next to us with a jackhammer, it'd be super distracting. It'd be like, let's get over there so we can talk. We can't hear. But everything is input. The sensory input of your butt touching this chair, right? Your hands touching this desk, the earphones on, the microphone in front of your face, the physical space, the you and I exchanging social cues and communicating with sound, like all that stuff is input. Well, in the sensory deprivation tank, there's none, zero. And then with the water being the same temperature as your skin, it feels like you're flying.
That was my experience.
It's amazing. On acid, it must be insane. I've never done it on acid.
I think it just, exacerbated the whole aspect of what you're talking about, where there's no body.
Yeah.
Your brain is free to go wherever it likes. I loved it. To me, it was pretty monumental. I don't think I would repeat it under those circumstances, but I'm
well, if
happy
you
I
did, you'd want more time. 1 hour is like, bing, time's up, Anthony.
Time
Like,
was
"Oh,
up. Time was up.
What do you mean
Yeah.
time's up? I'm on Jupiter.
But now for me, I get an even better feeling in the ocean. The ocean is so full of life and peace and nature and excitement. That's my tank these days.
Yeah, you were telling me about your love of surfing the other day. You love it, huh?
I do, because it gives me that feeling, that freedom, and there's an energy. I'm late to the game, late to the party, late as you can be. Started in my 40s, tried a handful of times before that, made no sense. And then when I finally found it through Takuji Masuda, my teacher, my Japanese teacher,